said she was going to move. She never told us anything. Where in the world is she? And she got our baby. Oh my God, what are we going to do?
This is Jay Korff. I'm a reporter and long-form storyteller here at ABC 7 News in Washington, and I'd like to thank you for joining me on a deep dive into arguably one of the most powerful and emotional stories that I have ever been a part of. Now, there's a lot of moving parts on this story. It's really two distinct parts, two families, two women, spanning over two generations. The first part of the story, of course, being the kidnapping, the disappearance of young Roberta Peterson when she was an infant. The second part of the story being the reunion with Sarah, her birth mother.
When I got pregnant, my dad said, you got to go. You got to go. You got to get married. You got to go. You got to leave here. You can't stay here.
So our story starts in the mid-1960s. Sarah is only 15, gets pregnant, is kicked out of her home in Alexandria. She moved about a mile away into her grandmother's house. She has the baby and quickly gets a babysitter based on a relative's recommendation. Sarah says a couple months later, that babysitter, Alberta Letherne, literally stole her child.
She was a crook. That's what I thought about her. She was a crook. She stole my child. When we went to the police station and told our story, they said, I'm sorry, you don't have enough evidence. You don't have enough evidence.
So one question that I've been asked probably more than any while putting this story together is, how did you find out about this story? And that's a very good question. And I think that that boils down to relationships and trust. Several years ago, I did a story on one of Sarah Peterson's relatives, and she and the family appreciated the approach that we took. They liked the piece. And Sarah told me recently that if she had ever found Roberta and that she felt like she needed to go to the media and talk about this story, that she wanted to bring it to me. And I appreciate that.
I can't believe it.
Me neither.
Oh, I'm telling you.
The first thing we did was sit down with Roberta and Sarah. We missed the actual moment when they reunited for the first time, unfortunately. The interview was a few weeks later at Roberta's home in Charles County. So they spent more than an hour telling us their stories. We were mesmerized and blown away. One moment, they and we were crying. The next moment, we were laughing and hugging. It was one of the more moving interviews that I have ever personally witnessed.
I said, you know what? And I called my daughter. I said, girl, you can always find somebody, but you sure bless your mom. She said, Mom, I'm just so happy for you. I'm just so happy for you. You finally found your mom after all these many years.
It was unbelievable. It was just
I said,
unbelievable.
yep, 53 years. But I always prayed one day. Always, always.
And
always.
it took those two.
I always prayed for my mama.
Thank you. Sweetheart. You got your mama. You got your mom back.
There are understandably a lot of questions surrounding this story, and we've tried to dig and answer all of those questions for you, like how could a police agency dismiss Sarah's story? I spoke with her recently, and she said that what she felt was that she and her story just were not important to the people who she spoke with, and that was very sad to her. She did reach out to attorneys, but they asked for money that she didn't have. She was struggling, working multiple jobs at a commissary and cleaning homes, and she just tried as best as she could to get on with her life. Finally, I recently spoke, this is a development, with Alberta's only living sibling. He's a 64-year-old man who lives in Maryland. His name is Robert Welch. And Mr. Welch was more than happy to talk with me about this. He said that he was about 10 or 11 years old, and one day his sister came home with a baby. And he did think that was weird because he didn't see her pregnant around that time. He said he came from one of those families where you didn't ask adults a lot of adult-type questions. It wasn't your place. He did hear rumblings in the family. There were family stories that Alberta had told them that she had a female friend who had recently had a daughter, an infant, and simply couldn't take care of that daughter, so literally gave the child to Alberta to raise. What is interesting is that Mr. Welch said that he does remember a time when Alberta was pregnant, but said that she had a miscarriage and due to complications could never bear children for the rest of her life. He said that Roberta was a loving niece, was a big part of the family, and he is very clear in saying that Alberta Letherne was a good mom, did a good job raising Roberta, provided for her, and did good by her.
Just never know.
Baby,
You just never know. There's so many people out here
It's
looking
going
for
through
their
the same-
family.
Going through the same thing. They're going through the same thing.
They just gotta have faith.
Have faith and never give up. Never give up. Because there's hope. There's always hope.
Yeah, it is. But I really feel good now because now I can really live my life even more better now with
Yes.
my mom and
There
my
you go.
sister, my brother, my
Yes.
aunts, and uncles and nieces
Yeah,
and
you
nephews.
got a whole
and
bunch of them. That she is
Yes.
going to meet a whole bunch of them.
Yes.
Up next for you, Sarah is in the process of organizing a big reunion so she can introduce Roberta to everyone in the family. That is sure to be a remarkable afternoon. We're going to be there for that, and we will bring that to you next. Thanks for watching.